Let's be real, I was a student as well for mock exams and stuff. And sometimes you think it's a bit of a joke. Don't do law because your parents are forced you to study law. Don't lie to yourself. The only way you're going to get in there is
Welcome to the first video of the Academic Fix. I'm so excited to show you guys what I've been working on for months. During this month, you'll see incredible interviews with talented individuals from all sorts of academic backgrounds and with top students coming from universities such as Oxford, Cambridge, Exeter, etc. I really hope that you guys enjoy these videos and that it helps you to fix your academics. In this video, we're going to be talking about a range of topics such as how to revise, how to debate,
how to write a good essay, how to avoid procrastination,
and many other indispensable things to know. So without further ado, let's get into the interview. Sean, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name's Sean. I currently study philosophy, politics and economics at the University of Oxford. For A-levels, I did English literature, maths and government and politics. I guess a little bit about myself. I used to be part of the UK Youth Parliament before I came to Oxford. And at Oxford, I was lucky enough to be elected to be the former president of the Oxford African and Caribbean Society, which is a society at Oxford dedicated to celebrating students of African and Caribbean heritage. I'm very honoured to be part of the Academic Fix and glad to help in any way I can. Yeah, good question, because I'm doing finals soon, so I need to actually know that one for myself. I guess you just have to know what type of person you are. For some people, they can just read a page and then absolutely just absorb the information straight into their brain. That's just not really the way I work. Basically, it sounds long and tedious, but if you need to memorize things, then there's really no shortcuts. I will essentially just write out what I need to know. So for like the kind of humanities stuff, I'll do a lot of essay plans, and then based off the essay plans, I'll just literally copy it out by hand a lot. And then after I've copied it out by hand, I'll try to condense it. So then there's a thing called trigger words where you condense big pieces of information to small words, so that if a similar essay question comes up, you can think of those words and then you start thinking of actual points. And then on the flip side, if it's things like maths and like the sciences, because like I said, I did maths for A-level, just past paper questions, literally just absolutely cram it. Yeah, just do a lot. That's literally the only way I think that I was able to do well in my maths A-level, but yeah. Okay. I'd be a liar if I said I've never had to cram last minute. It depends, right? I hope that for your final exams, you're not cramming. But if you are, I guess if there's like friends and stuff who've done a bit of revision or have notes, you can ask them for anything that they have to help you out. If it's like a mock exam, then it's a bit more unserious. Then you can maybe find out from the older years what paper came up. I don't know. That's just being sneaky though. I mean, if you want to properly cram revise, the proper way is to not do it at all. But I guess just trying to find out the key information and just try and understand the basics at least. Because once you understand the basics, then at least at a minimum, you're going to do all right. From word of advice, just try not to as much as possible. Of course, like let's be real, I was a student as well for mock exams and stuff. And sometimes you think it's a bit of a joke. It's not the best mentality to have because obviously with the A-level stuff recently in Corona, mocks actually count now. But yeah, just try not to cram. That's it. Yeah, I think that's probably the entirety of my Oxford degree. That's not an exaggeration, because the whole thing about Oxford is that weekly you get set work, which people kind of like withhold information not to help each other, or kind of just they don't actually teach you. You just have to figure out for yourself. The best way is just obviously just go back to fundamentals, just read, take your time to actually like read around the subject and actually understand the topic at hand. There's also obviously YouTube. You can YouTube stuff. I think is very helpful. But then again, as well, people who've done it before are in a very good position to help you. So, you know, a lot of the time, especially throughout Oxford, I'd ask older students for their notes and any advice that they have, really, because they've obviously done it before. And you'd be surprised how many people do that, actually, because then if they pass you on notes, they're passing you notes down from like years before them, because they ask people, and the people they ask other people. So yeah, just reach out to your peers as well. It's a good solution. I've been procrastinating recently. I need to probably take some of my own advice, but I guess back in GCSE and A level, you have to like really sit yourself down and be self-aware about how much it really means. Of course, you know, the kind of typical education route isn't for everyone, but you know, if you want to go to a top university, don't lie to yourself. The only way you're going to get in there is if you do well in your GCSEs and A levels. So once you understand the gravity of the situation or really deep it, I think then the procrastination becomes less of an issue. Procrastination affects people in different ways. The way it affects me the most is that I just can't put off the start of the work, but once I start, it's normally fine. So you need to figure out what kind of procrastinator you are, and also what you're procrastinating on. So for example, like I think the main thing for everyone is social media, which is why for GCSEs and A levels I just deleted all my social media apps. I just went a bit ghost because it's serious. And obviously don't like stress yourself out and put too much pressure on it. Still stay in touch with your friends and stuff and have a good balance, but just get rid of it. Like, you probably don't need it for those like 3 months coming up to it, so it's fine. I think I was just quite lucky because from young I got involved in like the kind of youth parliament stuff, which is obviously not necessary at all to be involved or interested in politics. And from there, like a lot of different opportunities came up. So like as more of a general piece of advice, there's not like one thing you can really get involved in. It's more just about take the opportunities that come your way. Because a bit about me, I just went to a state school in North London, bit of a struggling state school that doesn't get many people into top unis or anything like that. So when like different types of opportunities would come around, people would be like, like that's a bit moist, this, that. But I just thought, nah, like, let me just try it. And then it leads to different things. I was involved in youth parliament, then I was part of like the Jack Petchey Foundation. There's like certain schemes and stuff. We had an opportunity to go to City Hall to like discuss youth opportunities with some like Mayor of London initiative. Like the thing about politics in particular, politics is just kind of the study of like life. So it's all around you. So other things you can do, get involved in like a political party, even if that's not really your vibe, even watching things online or like podcasts and YouTube. Or actually reading, because obviously books do exist, is something I definitely recommend. Always just take the opportunities that come your way, because you don't know what it's going to lead to. So
Yeah.
you really have to just love your subject. So you got to really understand what your subject's about. Don't do law because your parents are forced you to study law, or don't do medicine because your parents want you to do medicine, which is a common thing for a lot of people, and a lot of ethnic people in particular. Like I said, I'm from a Caribbean background, so it's very common with us as well. The thing about Oxford, I can't stress to you how much work you have to do once you're here, which isn't to put you off, that's just a reality. You need to be able to be comfortable with your degree and actually enjoy it, because if you don't enjoy it, then you're not going to enjoy Oxford one bit. Like, of course, I love politics. I'm very interested in it, but there's definitely times where like the things I'm studying are just boring, right? Like everyone's going to find that. That's just with anything in life. Whatever job you do, there's boring parts. So if you don't even have love for your subject or don't even enjoy it, then it's not worth it at all. And I guess the second follow-up question would be like, how do you find out about the degrees? Reach out to current students, let them know what it's about. Look at the kind of introductory reading that Oxford advises for the different courses. There's so much help out there. So like I said, if you're of African and Caribbean descent, message the Oxford ACS. There's the Cambridge ACS. Different universities as well have different ACSs. If you're like Muslim, for example, there's like Oxford Islamic Society. If you find these groups online and just literally send them a message about your question, they'll put you in touch with the right people, or literally just email a college or any admission tutor that you come across, because there's so many people willing to help. And I don't think when I was applying, I realized how many people are actually willing to help. But yeah, definitely try and find out what your course is and apply to it only if you actually like it. I hear that. There's obviously good and bad competition, and I think I was quite blessed in my secondary school because it was a lot of good competition. But in my year, we were lucky because my friend also got into Oxford to study PPE, and my other friend also got into Cambridge to study economics, and that was like the first time in like years that multiple people have even got into Oxbridge, let alone one person. And that was an example of good competition because we'd all push each other. Like, for example, our teachers wouldn't give us the best interview prep and stuff, so we kind of interviewed each other and pushed each other for opportunities. We shared things with each other because at the end of the day, it's a positive sum game, which is a little political term, but it means that everyone's going to be a winner. Right? Like, you're not actually in direct competition with the people in your year group, so don't act like it. On the other hand, when competition gets bad and people kind of like withhold information not to help each other or kind of people, like, that's just not good. Regardless of like what position you're in, just always try to help people. I think if you live by that principle, like, a lot of good will come your way. And I think good competition's obviously good, but yeah, there can be bad competition. You just got to find people you trust and people who support you as well. You know what I mean? Like, actually having people who support you and are like backing you. So I think that's how you can tell who's going to be competitive with you in a good way and bad, is if they generally have love for you.
I know competitiveness is a big thing in secondary school, but does it decrease in higher education, or is it still quite relevant?
I think that in Oxford and in my experience, it's a bit of a mix because, of course, everyone wants to do good and everyone's very ambitious to get the top grades. But it's less so in the sense that just structurally, if everyone did really well, everyone can get a first, for example. It's not like A-levels or like GCSE where only like a certain portion of people will get an A star, which is why like it's quite collaborative, I think. Well, in my experience, I mean, other people might have different experiences, but it's not as competitive as you'd think, because the only way you will get through is if you talk to people and you work together as a team. Yeah, I think the best conversations are the ones that dig deep. So all conversations are all just anything really, any topic, anything in science, maths, etc. You can always start from like a simple observation. So, for example, like, I remember having a conversation with my friends recently, and then we were just talking about how like smoking cigarettes is bad, of course. But then you start from a very simple kind of observation, and then you dig deeper, then you start questioning, well, is it actually that bad? What's the actual benefits? What's actually the harms? Why is it that, if it is, because like, let's be real, if it is really that bad, why has it become the case that everyone in the country does it, or it's just so normalized? And then you can get into the deeper kind of history of it and realize about like commercial incentives and stuff, etc. So that's just an example of how like a simple observation can turn into a more in-depth discussion about basically the state of the world. It's just about questioning and being critical. Being critical is all about, again, just questioning things like, but why is that the case? And if you just keep following that line, why, you'll probably get to a question which has no answer. But until you get there, it's a good journey. And I think doing that allows conversations to be a lot more stimulating. Yeah, so I guess they're both different things, because winning debates is obviously competitive, so it's more about your academic merit of your arguments. So for winning a debate, your argument has to be quite clear and quite logical. You have to really address the points that the other side will bring up. So that's what a lot of philosophy is about. Philosophy is about, the study of philosophy anyway, is about arguing coherently and logically, and like being very focused on the other side's line of reasoning. So a good way to like structure argument would be to state your case, state the other side's case, and then respond why you think the other side's case won't work. But you shouldn't at all actually portray their case in a bad light, right? You shouldn't try and portray the worst possible case for them. You should, portray their case in the strongest way possible. So then when you refute it, you refute the strongest version of their opinion. And then that is what a strong argument is, and that's how you win a debate. Now, winning a crowd over in public speaking, you don't have to do all of that, because at the end of the day, people who go to a debating competition want to hear good debates, but people in like a normal crowd, well, not everyone's going to be a debate enthusiast. Not everyone's going to actually care about the merits of the argument, which is why politics, for example, is less about actual coherent arguments, and debate is more about just quick, snappy lines that people can just catch on to. Things like, I don't know, get Brexit done, for the many, not the few, just some kind of slogans that pop into your head and just stay there. Winning over a crowd is more about, I guess, on a personal level, just being charismatic, talking to the people as if that you're friends, make jokes, that type of stuff. I guess also being a bit self-depreciating, not really talking down to them, but like, you know, being able to like make jokes about yourself is always a good way. It obviously depends on what like the content of your speech is, but I think charisma definitely goes a long way, and having things which are memorable are quite strong to have. So from the get-go in your introduction, you have to address the question immediately and then essentially state your case. They call it like a thesis point. If the essay question is just a question, you have to take a clear line of like where you fall on the question. I mean, it is very possible to show both sides, like have a balanced argument. I think that's what A level is about. A level is about showing that you understand both sides. But then when you get to university, it's about what you think. So in the introduction, just say what you think, and then just lay out the structure of how the essay is going to go. Then you follow that structure and you conclude. Yeah, essays are basically just debates and stating your case and stating your side. So I suggest you kind of follow those tips, but a strong introduction, one in which is concise and gets to the point, is the best. Cut out the waffling, because there's no need for that. Favorite book? I watch a lot of YouTube and TikTok, so I think it's been a while since I've read a good book. But I think a really good book, and it's the first one that comes to mind, is Akala's Native. It's a lot about the myth of meritocracy in British society. And meritocracy is just the idea that if you work hard, good will come to you, or like the people at the top are the most hardworking. So it's a good book about that, but also he ties in his own experiences growing up as a young black man in London in the 90s and in the 80s and so forth. And it's a lot about like racism as well in the country, which I think is a good read for anyone.
I've heard about that debate often. Do you think that meritocracy exists?
Not really. I think so long as we live in a world where money is quite well, it's capitalism in it. So of course, like money talks, which means that people with money are just going to have a head start, and that's just life. So you can be very hardworking at the bottom, but you know, some people are just born very rich. So it's quite hard to see how meritocracy could still exist. Maybe at a small scale, perhaps in like different communities and stuff. Yeah, sure. But the only way meritocracy will truly exist is if you equalize playing fields. And by equalizing playing fields, that basically means removing the not characteristics, but I guess the demographic traits of people. So, for example, it shouldn't matter like, you know, where you come from, your race, your background, your social background, so like how rich you are, where you live, etc. You should always have equal chances. And if you have equal chances, so equality of opportunity, if you have true equality of opportunity, then I think meritocracy will follow. But you know, trying to assume that people have true equality of opportunity in the first place is just a big assumption. That's a big ask, which doesn't really exist. That's not to be pessimistic though. People can still do well for themselves.
Yeah.
But it's just the state of things, the reality of things. Yeah, good question. I'm not really sure yet. I'm not gonna lie to you. And that's good because I think, you know, you don't really have to know yet because I'm still young. Well, I say I'm young. You man might think I'm old, but I'm 20. Gonna be 21 in January. But yeah, aspirations. It's a difficult one. I think as soon as you get into university, definitely start thinking about the jobs you want to do. Like as soon as you leave. But that's not necessarily your aspirations. That can just be like a stepping stone to your aspirations. The sad truth is a lot of like traditionally smart people. So I guess myself and stuff, as soon as you get into Oxbridge, like you're just sucked into the corporate jobs, which is fine. Like, you know, you're gonna need people who become investment bankers, commercial lawyers, consultants, etc. But I tried that kind of route, but I realized actually this year it wasn't really for me. So I'm not really sure what my aspirations are, but on a general level, I do hope that one day I'll be able to be in a position where I can just help people, help communities, whether that be going into politics, I don't know, or any other way possible. Because really and truly, your aspirations in life should just be the pursuit of your passions. and you figure that out by a lot of deep introspection, a lot of deep thinking, and all of that. But right now, as young kids, you can think about it still, but I think it changes a lot as you grow. So right now, you don't need to worry about it. But I feel like once you get to the end of university and stuff, then you need to start worrying about it, which is why I'm worrying about it. But for now, just cling on to your passions. Sounds all lovey-dovey, but trust me, you'll live a better life like that.
That's really good advice. Well, that brings it to the end of the interview. I want to thank you so much for agreeing to do this with me. It's been such a pleasure.
No, it's been a pleasure for me.
And to all you guys watching, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please like, comment, subscribe. Also, stay tuned for all the coming videos during this month. And all I have to say is thank you for watching. Bye.